Cover a lot of information today. I try to keep this pretty light, so a lot of stories, some fun stuff. Hopefully you're not falling asleep or bored. A little bit of information about me. So like you said, I work at a company called Idaho. We do disaster recovery and business continuity. My job is essentially travel to these events. I travel about once a week. I attend these events. I talk about security. I talk to you guys about your businesses, and then I talk about to IT service providers and MSPs about their businesses and kind of see where the industry is going in education. I'm Canadian, so you can make fun of me as soon as you want to, any point in time in this. That would be more of a, I guess the story is about me. Just kind of housekeeping notes. Washrooms are going to be, I think that's another one of my Canadian terms, right behind me. Totally respect your time. Thank you, and I understand you guys are busy. If you have to step away and take a call, please feel free. I will not be offended. I'll probably apologize just ahead of time. I'm so sorry you had to leave, being Canadian. So there's a lot of different ways when we talk about security that you can keep yourself secure. This, although fun, is not one of them. Although it kind of works. No one's going to steal your information if you have no money. So the information isn't valuable. So Datto is a company, kind of talk about Datto. It's a really large company. I'm really happy to be working with the company. I am quite a little bit new for our team. But we have 47 different locations. We have devices on every single continent in the world, which was really, really cool. And then we're supported by 1,700 employees. The big number here that I like to point out is 70% in support and development. You guys are all really busy. We're going to cover this a lot today. We don't really have time. Everyone's really busy and everyone doesn't have time. Datto specifically has 70% of our team working on development, help security, and help products that you and our partners use on a day-to-day basis. Just something I'm really proud of. So when I come to a lot of events, people talk about what backup is. So why do you want to back up your computers? Well, because if someone comes in your office and smashes it, you're going to be kind of screwed. So you need to have your computers up and running. You talk about fires and then floods. I specifically am from Calgary, Alberta. We had a big flood a few years ago where the entire downtown core was shut down for 1 week. Imagine the entire downtown core shut down for 1 week. Crazy. Or then there's me who walks around your office and throws coffee everywhere because I am a klutz. I did this weekend actually sprain my toe sleeping. That's how klutzy I am. I sprained my toe while sleeping. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, so dropping coffee everywhere. Think about all the different reasons how your computers can break. But it's not just that. When it really comes down to it, people are your biggest risk. They're always going to be the biggest risk, and not just the person who spills coffee everywhere, but the day-to-day things that people end up doing by accident, whether it not be because they're not trained, or think about it, on a Friday, it's 4 p.m., you want to go camping that right after work, you're not necessarily paying attention to your emails at that point in time because you're busy. I spend a lot of time in airports, I'm getting on the plane, I'm going through emails, I'm trying to get through things, so there's a good chance that I might click on something that I shouldn't. This is Hawaii. In Hawaii, this is a guy who does the alerting system. He super loves his job. He does all the alerts. If there's something bad happening or heading towards Hawaii, he's the person who's going to alert everybody that this bad thing is happening. This is his LinkedIn profile. On his LinkedIn profile, he's like, look at my job. My job is awesome. This is what I do. And there's my password to my computer. People are always your greatest risk. Another example here. This is in the UK. So weather alert. Simon Parker, weather alert, weather alert. Once again, right on the whiteboard there, username and password. When we came in today, I don't know if you noticed this earlier today, but there's a password to one of the computers' emails right here. And I was like, it's kind of funny because we're right here. This is your greatest risk. Another example, Super Bowl, right here on the whiteboard, password. So examples, if you take anything from this outside of needing to improve your security, change your passwords. Don't have your passwords under your computers. And don't be using the same password on any product more than once ever. Kanye West, I just like to point out this one because it's amusing. He accidentally told the entire world his phone password, which was 00000, because the extra zero makes it more secure, always. Okay, so where all of this stuff kind of came from. WannaCry was a ransomware, one of the biggest ransomwares that came out, and that kind of changed the entire industry and the entire world. For bad, for good, good for the bad guys, bad for the rest of us. One of the things that I just kind of geek out here and like the story of is cryptocurrency / Bitcoin in general. Bitcoin was doing okay for years and years and years. Cryptocurrency is definitely a new way to do things. WannaCry actually changed the entire industry. When it released, Bitcoin value jumped straight all the way up. It's important to point out because, thank you for mowing the lawn right now. It's important to point out it's important to point out moments like that, just because if it was the value of being able to trade information where you don't see where money is going, where money is you never know who's getting it, where's getting it, you can't get caught. It makes it all of a sudden really, really easy for you, or if you guys want to start a side business with me, for us to start a company where we can be bad and nefarious and do bad things. And that's where Bitcoin and ransomware have like skyrocketed. Ransomware, so a small to medium sized business, a lot of times that I attend events, people are like, this isn't going to happen to me, it's not a big deal, right? Currently, you're looking at a $700 million market. And that's just the cost of ransomware, people what they're paying when they get hit with ransomware. It's a huge market. This is a multi-billion or billion-dollar business and industry around the world. So a couple of interesting ransomware that we've seen in the industry. Popcorn time, has anyone heard of popcorn time? So this one was, to me, is really interesting because it's one of the first ransomwares that mix social engineering and ransomware. So ransomware, an email you get, if you actually click it, encrypts all your computers. With popcorn time, this took, maybe you don't like somebody, or maybe you do like someone, but not that much. Instead of having to pay the ransomware to get all your information back, you can now send this to 2 people who you no longer like, or 2 exes who maybe don't like you. And now you won't have to pay, that now decrypts your computer, and that ransomware is now forwarded to different people. So it's melding social engineering, trying to figure out different ways to spread ransomware, and it might not just be about the value of the dollar, but the value of the people it touches. Ransomware is really, really big business. So they have support desks, they can tell you, they have nice help centers that help you to buy Bitcoin. They have it be able to be translated in every different language, because it's not like this is some guy sitting next door who's sending this off just to your local city. This is worldwide business. So they need to, at certain times a day, they're sending it to China, and other times a day they're sending to the US, so on and so forth, Eastern, Western. It's really cool if you ever have a chance to look at the heat maps of where the attacks are happening from. It's all during the times of the 8 to 5, or actually I should say the night times of when the heat maps are coming out, where the attacks are actually happening. Casino heists. So casino heists, usually when you think of casino heists, you think of the vault in the basement, you think of me and Brad Pitt hanging out because we're best friends, 100%. One of the, just recently in Vegas, there was a massive casino heist where all the big rollers' data was stolen. And you would think, okay, so how did they steal that information? They hacked into the computers? IoT. So IoT is the Internet of Things. Think about all the devices that you're connected with. Used to be, say you might, well, even not so recently, your smartwatch, not a big deal. But now thinking, even at home, I have a Nest, I've got well, not me specifically, but your refrigerator, all of those devices that are connected. In a big casino, it makes a lot more sense that they have their thermometers on an IoT device, because now they don't have to go and manually measure everything. So all of those IoT thermometers are connected to the network. So the hackers were able to go into the network via the fish thermometer for the fish tanks and steal all of the big rollers' data. So IoT is another really big security risk that you always want to keep aware. So talk about a couple of big cities that have been hit. First, we have Atlanta. So the Atlanta ransomware attack, if you haven't heard about the Atlanta ransomware attack, well, now you're going to, but it's a pretty interesting story. 60 Minutes actually did a big thing about it as well. So when a big city gets hit with ransomware, the FBI says don't pay. A few different reasons. One, if you pay the ransomware, you're giving money to crime. So that money is funding war crime, which is of course not a very good thing to do. Also, ransomware tends to be put down on packets. When that packet is delivered, and you might pay your ransom to get your information, there's no promise that they're going to take the packet back. They can encrypt your computer again. There's no promise of that. And then also, that packet is still sitting on your computer, so there's a chance that they're still stealing and mining data from you even after you've paid the ransom. So, all of that being said, of course, Atlanta's not going to pay the ransom because they believe in the FBI and they're not going to call the FBI liars. So instead, what they ended up having to do is, in order to get their information back, the time and the dollars and all of that, almost $3 million, just to get the city up and running again. Over the next span of a few months, you're looking at an additional $10 million. This is a lot of money. Their total IT investment, $12 million, which was a third of their annual IT budget. One ransomware attack on one city cost them 1/3 of their IT budget. And what's worse is they still have lost information. So 7 years of police cam data lost. And that's just what they're releasing to the public. So big, big business. And this is where we talk about, it's not necessarily just about backing up information, but getting information. How quickly can you get back up and running? So this Atlanta ransomware attack was a while ago. You think that now cities are updating, but we all know cities don't move very quickly, anything to do with governments. Poor city of Baltimore couldn't get everything back up and running really quick, or their security levels in place very quick. They got hit by ransomware last May, so May 7th. The ransom demand, 13 Bitcoin. Needless to say, they didn't pay, of course. The cost as of today, and counting, I guarantee you, every time I do this presentation, I don't change this number, but that number is rising and every day. The day they went down, this is literally their front door, the office, saying systems are all down until further notice. They have no idea when this happened, when they're gonna be back up and running, what they're supposed to do about it. They lost voicemail, email, parking, 1,500 pending home sales. I'm not gonna kind of go through all of this, but it literally affected all facets of their business, every single branch. If they had a backup and business continuity solution, which I'll go into, this would have been solved simply by a click of a button and then time done by their IT service company, a provider. So we need to stop thinking about traditional backup. So traditional backup, it's kind of easier to talk about when we're talking about what is continuity, to talk about what isn't continuity. That would be just your traditional backup. So a lot of the times when I talk about traditional backup, people say, okay, I have it stored in the cloud. That's easy, right? Not a big deal. Or local tape. Every single day I put something in the computer and I take it out and it's recorded and I put that in a safe or a different location, or I do it once a month. Or file-based backup, so taking images of just specific, say, files or folders. That is, of course, if you're not doing that now, you need to do that already. That's needless to say. A continuity is your step after that. So continuity is your ability to be back up and running once something happens, how quickly you can be back up and running. So hybrid cloud-based backup, so making sure you have a local and hybrid device so you can instantly virtualize at any point in time. So your computer, you accidentally press the wrong button, if accidents happen, your computer gets encrypted, you now call your IT service provider, and you instantly and they can have you up and running in a virtualization of your entire system, and image-based backup of everything, the way your apps, your pictures, everything, within seconds. Delivering superior ITO and RPO. Once again, that's the how often are you backing up, and then the how quickly you can be back up and running, which I'll show you again in the next slide. All of continuity, the reason why it is because you're eliminating that downtime. It's not necessarily what happens, it's not the point of being, okay, we're down. What if you're a restaurant and you're down for lunch? You can take any payments for lunch. Well, how much is that gonna cost you? And then it takes 2 days for all your staff to get everything back up and running. That's that point. If you lose $100, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in downtime, how valuable is that time? And then reputation as well. So, RPO, how often are you backing things up? Say if you were doing tape backup, you're probably maybe doing that once a day, once a week. If you come into work on a Monday and you have a massive thing going on, you spend 8 hours working and then you forget to press save and you lose all of that information at the end of the day, that's 8 hours of your day, that's worth a lot of time. So how often do your computers need to be backed up so that if you did lose your information, that you can go back to the last backup, start from there. And then recovery, RTO, how long is it going to take you to be up and running? Can you be instantly up and running? Will it take you a week, a month, a day? With our solution data, we also include ransomware detection. So every time we do a backup, so this is where I go, say 5 minutes, however you set it up and you want it with your MSP, you want it set up, we take a photo. Every one of those photos, there's an algorithm that searches that photo for ransomware. So you might click something and download something and nothing happens to your computer, so you keep going on with your day. With our solution, it actually looks at one point, looks at the other, it sees that there's a difference between the two, notifies your MSP, and then says, hey, there's a difference. We're gonna put you back to your original one and check that check the one that had that download if there is ransomware on it. Super important. Okay, continuity, got it, but how do we prove continuity? One of my fun parts about my job is we smash things, we set things on fire, we blow things up. We have done, if you get bored sometimes, you want to look up Datto's disaster demos. They're super entertaining to watch. So, we set computers on fire. We many times have smashed things. We've stopped setting computers on fire because we realized this photo is in Australia. That's actually my boss. In Australia, we were at a conference center in the Marriott. So just like this, except massive, they set the computer on fire and they have flash paper. They didn't realize that the fire detectors are a lot more sensitive. So the fire detectors went off and ended up evacuating the entire hotel, which is a massive Marriott, and the entire conference center at a massive conference center. Needless to say, fire trucks ended up coming. They evacuated the entire place, and we got a $7,000 fine. It's in Aussie dollars, so it's not that much big of a deal. It's kind of like the Canadian dollar. But first thing my boss had to do is call his boss and say, hey, we kind of did this by accident. And the first thing he said was, well, was it cool? Yeah, it was cool. It was pretty fun. So now we don't do that anymore because we learned our lesson. So this is actually a video of Calgary, my hometown. This is at the Saddle Dome where the Calgary Flames play. At this time, they had a concert later that day. So this is in a restaurant where a big conference is happening afterwards. We can't set things on fire because we've learned our lesson already. So instead we drill through a computer. What you don't realize is maybe you should take the battery out. So of course, they set it on fire. Smoke fills the room, a burning battery, not good. So needless to say, the restaurant's pissed off at us. We've set something on fire. Eric Torres, my coworker, throws the computer outside, and I can say this because I'm from Calgary, somebody stole it, which makes sense because that's what happens in Calgary. So those are just a few fun ways of the ways we can demonstrate continuity, and your managed service provider, if you're ever interested, can also set that up with you. Okay, so we talked about backup, business continuity, and why the differences is what you need to. Now we need to talk about SaaS protection. So all of those, your emails, all of those online devices, a lot of the times when I come to events like this, people are like, well, why do I need to back up my emails, right? It's not a big deal. Once again, people are always your biggest risk. If you let an employee go and they delete everything, how easy is it to call Google and Microsoft to get that information back? I know for a fact Microsoft, to even call them if you need to get information back, to create a ticket, it's I think $250. And then more time you spend on that, more time they spend on it, it's gonna be more money that you have to pay. And the chances of them getting any of the information back is pretty slim. And that's just like on purpose, but accidents happen. Both, the reason why you need to have SaaS protection, you need to have backup of all of your emails, is because both Google and Microsoft have this in their SLAs. So Office 365, we recommend that you regularly back up your content and data that you store. And then Gmail, Google should not be liable for any of the data or any intangible losses. So they're telling you in their fine print that nobody ever reads, because let's be serious, we never read this stuff, that you are responsible for this information if you need to get this back. So, well, what are the risks? Somebody deletes something by accident, not a big deal. You let an employee go, that would suck, but what's not a big deal? What about right now if you clicked on one of your emails and it lost everything? How valuable would that be, and how much of a pain in the butt would that be for your day? This is why there's a new ransomware that's coming out that's specifically focusing on your accounts, your email accounts. So this is called RansomCloud. So online ransomware that's specifically locking up all of these. There's this guy called Kevin Mitnick. He's a hacker from the 90s. He went to jail. He was one of the best, most worldwide known hackers. He went to jail, came out, and now he works with the FBI and has a business, and this is what he does. He goes to different events and he hacks people's computers. So he uses RansomCloud. He actually came to an event, and we have a video that we can send you as well to show you how easy this is. Well, for him, not for me. What he does, you get an email like this. So, like I said, Friday, 4 p.m., you're getting out for the day. You get an email saying, hey, you need to update your spam. Where are you gonna click it? Even though you guys are here and you say you're not gonna do it, there's a good chance, well, this is the reason the business is so big, someone's gonna click it at some point in time. it looks really, really professional. So you click it. Now, of course, I'm going to update my spam pro. That totally makes sense. Yeah. And then I'm going to enter my information because I'm really busy and I have things to do and I want to get this done and I want to leave for the day. And then all of my emails are encrypted. Nice enough, they let you know who the emails are from, so you know what you're missing. All your emails are encrypted, and then they send you a final email of saying, hey, this is how you get Bitcoin. This is what you need to do. This is who you need to call. If you need support, we have a support help desk that can help you with all that information as well. RansomCloud is it's the newest, biggest thing that's coming out, and we're seeing it really consistently. We are all work out of our emails so often. I know I was sending out emails 2 seconds before I came in here because we're all busy. Having a SaaS protection backing up this information is very, very important. So this is a video. You all have a piece of paper in front of you. If you're taking notes, great. This is another video we can send off to you for you to take a look at if you'd like at any point in time. Okay, so we talked about the cost of ransomware to the small to medium-sized business market, you guys. Well, that was the amount is being paid. And that's just the amount that's being paid, but that's being reported to the FBI. You imagine a lot of people are pretty embarrassed and don't actually even report it. This is the cost when we talk about that RTO and RPO of ransomware to small to medium-sized businesses. When you take the amount of time it takes to recover, to get back up and running, the amount you're paying your staff, the amount of time, all of that. This is massive industry, and to be ahead of the curve, you need to have those security conversations. You guys are great, you're here, we're starting the conversation. You need to be continuing that. RTO and RPO. So we have a lot of tools for you guys. So there's another tool that we have. If you're ever interested in what the actual costs are for your company of that downtime would be, we have a tool that Teknologize can sit down with you and actually 6 questions. It's really, really simple. Ask you 6 different questions of being, say, how many hours can your business go without accessing its systems? I'm pretty sure with most businesses it's not that many, maybe overnight, that could be good. How many hours of production time on those servers are you willing to lose? How many employees affected, average employee wage? So simple questions that actually breaks down to see what the cost of your business downtime would be. So you can kind of see if it's a cost-effective solution to risk it, or if it's something that you want to look into having a further conversation to see what the fees would be to be putting a system in place that would protect you from this. So we have, each one of you in front of you have a piece of paper for a scheduled free assessment. So we can set you up with free assessment to kind of look at your businesses, see what's in place, have a conversation about security, and see what the next steps are. If you guys are completely good, that's awesome. That's where we need you to be. I'm assuming since you're all here, you still want more information, so please fill that out. We'll assess any backups, Office 365, or any areas within your business that need more security, and then remediate the right solution. That for me would be everything I have to say, so thank you so much. You guys are great. I didn't see anyone fall asleep, so that's good. Yeah.